Hi guys, and welcome to Sample Tools by CR2, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Industrial Techno pack. Now what I want to run you guys through today is Analogue EQ, and specifically the EQs that Logic added to their last update. You may not be aware of this, but if you go over to the audio effects section and go down to EQ and over to Vintage EQ Collection, you'll see three brand new EQs. You've got the console, the graphic, and the tube. Now what I want to do is I want to run you through all three of these EQs and how I use them in a track. I'm also going to let you know what third-party options there are, so if you don't have Logic, you can always reach for a different model or brand of EQ, but of the same emulation. So let's go ahead and open up the graphic EQ. So this EQ here is based on something called an API 560, and UAD do a version just here, and Waves also do a version, which I don't have. And it's fantastic. It's just this really punchy kind of slightly harmonic, and what I mean by that, it kind of adds a little bit of flavor to it. I wouldn't say it's clean, it's got a bit of character. The API is probably most famous for its mids, so everything around 1000, which is easily located by this red fader. And they make it really easy in the Logic one because they even write punchy on the output model. So you know that this is the punchy EQ that you're using. You've got a drive dial as well, which means you can drive the input so you can get more harmonics out of it if you want to. And if you drive it too much, it will probably distort, but it's quite nice to get a bit of flavor if you think something doesn't sound sort of warm or saturated enough. Okay, I've applied this to my drum bus, and I use these kind of EQs like finishing EQs. So I usually use digital EQs along the way, and then on something like a drum bus or a group of drums, I'll use an analog EQ just to add some flavor. Let's have a listen to the drums without the EQ. So I think they already sound fantastic, but that doesn't mean that we just can't add some finishing touches. Let's go ahead and start with the drive and see how much of this we need in order to color the sound, but we don't want it to distort. The drive will also kind of clip transients too, so any kind of peaky sounds that are coming through, it will cut them off because of the nature of driving the input. So it works a little bit like overdrive too. Let's check it out. So it doesn't make a huge difference, but you can kind of feel things filling out a bit. I'm going to put it at around 8 rather than all the way to 11. I like that they put it all the way up to 11. If you guys have seen Spinal Tap, that's probably a nod to that. Okay, we got the drive. Let's go through the EQ. Now, when I'm EQing with something like this, and I'm trying to discover it, and what I mean by that is understand it better, and I haven't used an EQ before, I will literally go through and raise each individual EQ point and go, that sounds good. That doesn't sound so good, you know? And if I like it, I'll leave it. And that's a great way to basically just figure it out and just be like, okay, yeah, that boost at 31 sounds really good on these drums in this EQ. So we're going to try that now, and we'll see if we can shape these drums. Now, I'm not just going to boost, I'm also thinking I'm going to cut. So if I boost something and I'm like, oh, I actually really don't like that, and I'm accentuating it and I notice it, I might just pull it out a little bit. So let's start from the bottom. We'll go from 125 because there's nothing around here because I've already done low cuts on all my drums. There's no low drums in there. Great. So I didn't like the 500. That was a bit muddy, so I took out, let's take out a bit more, half a decibel. Love the 1K, so boosted 2 dB there. Nothing at 2K. That felt really harsh, actually, really horrible. So just kind of left that. I didn't want to cut. Boosted at 4, tiny little boost at 8, tiny little boost at 5. Okay, with and without the EQ. So we definitely gained some volume, probably about, I would say probably about 4 dB. So let's pull that down by 4, turn it on and off. We want to make sure that the EQ on is the same volume as when it's off. Absolutely love it with it on. I think there's a real kind of thickness that it adds, especially to those mids. It takes away a little bit from the kind of really high frequencies, but not in a negative way. It's just more focused around 1K, and I think that will punch through really nicely in a club system, which is where this kind of music is being designed to play. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.
Remember, at Sample Tools by CR2, we also offer a mix and mastering service. Just head over to www.sampletoolsbycr2.com, click on the Mastering tab, and you'll find our range of services there.